Alright, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? Give it a second, as usual, to get everything going. Let some people hop in. So, if you guys are watching the replay later, all you need to do is flash forward about 2-3 minutes. It's usually what I do. Wait about 2-3 minutes. And then we'll get started with today's lesson. Basically, today, as you can see, we're going into content strategy and planning. And again, this is going to be a content strategy or plan. We're going to actually talk about a specific niche. I don't even have the niche planned, so I might even stumble over my words a little bit. You guys will get a laugh out of this. But we're going to go into creating a content marketing strategy or plan for, again, any niche that you guys could have, whether that's restaurants, lawyers, doctors, car dealerships, whatever you guys are working with. That's what we're going to cover tonight. So again, we're going to wait a second for some people to hop in, another minute or two, and then we'll get started. Don't really have any notes or updates outside of the fact that, our mentorship program has launched. So if you guys haven't seen the mentorship program, we're doing that every Wednesday. A little background info on how that works. Basically, every Wednesday we do a live video training with me on Facebook where you can sit there, ask me questions. But not only that, we have a topic, obviously, that we plan out, and we go and create a segment for, or create a lesson plan for that week. And then we go through that lesson plan live. We do some live training. Like last week, we did building Facebook audiences. We're going over remarketing part 2 this week for Facebook ads. So that's a huge thing that you guys might be interested in, especially if you're dealing with the social media marketing. Hey, Jamie. I love it. Hey, Terrell, what's going on, man? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here just because this is more in-depth type information. And like I said, I might stumble across some things here as we go, but I'm going to do my best. Kara's Corner, I need to get my ish together. I've been missing all these live courses. Well, that's okay, Kara. Wait, are you in the mentorship program? If you're in the mentorship program, that's the cool thing. So you get access to all the videos that we've done previously, at least for the last month. So for the last 30 days, all you have to do is go to the course. If you signed up, you can go to the mentorship course and you can download all of those videos so you can save the copies. Plus, you can actually save the documents too. But the free live trainings, if you're talking about that, then yeah, you need to be here every Thursday. Remember, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is when we do this. So let's go ahead and get started in this lesson. If you guys have questions, again, just put them in the comments section below. But again, actually, let me wrap up because I got off topic. The mentorship program, if you want to get in, there is a code in the description below for 50% off your first month. After that, it's only $100 a month. And again, you get the 4 live trainings with me, all the videos, all the documents, everything like that. Plus the free group that you get to, get involved with some other marketers and, have conversation and get the help that you actually need to run your business. So number 1, it's basically 7 parts to creating the content plan or the content strategy for any niche, okay? And it's broken down into 7 parts for a reason, because you need to do it in stages, just like any other plan, whether it's your Facebook ad funnel, whether it's SEO, whether it's planning the website, you guys have to have the plan in place. So the first step is obviously pretty easy here, and it's just define your goals. Step 1, define goals. Pretty simple, right? If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what your end goal is, if you don't know what the end result is going to be, then what's the point in doing any of this, right? With marketing, you always need to have an end goal in mind, whether that's collecting leads, if it's getting engagement, if it's telling a story and building a brand, whatever it is, you need to have an end goal in mind, right? So define the goals. And here's some kind of goals for content marketing specifically. So when you're, again, thinking about creating blog content, social media posts, email content, website content, all of that stuff, basically there are 3 big types of content marketing goals. Number 1 is going to be informational or educational. So informational or educational. All right. And what is informational, educational? Well, the goal there is obviously to inform or to educate. So prime example of that is my business. We inform and we educate people on digital marketing, social media marketing, all of that, right? So that is the end goal with my content. if I create a blog article or if I create a video, my end goal is, what did I teach them? That's the question I ask myself. Did I teach them anything that they can actually use to build their business, right? That's the end goal of my informational, educational type channel. Now let's relate that to a real estate agent. If you wanted to do an informational or educational type channel for a real estate agent, you could walk through the steps of buying a home or the steps of selling a home. You could even get kind of out of the real estate niche directly and go into something like do it yourself or a home improvement type content strategy, where you're talking about how to build things for your home to make it more aesthetically pleasing, or how to there's several different things. You could do interior design, and you could find a way to educate people on the proper techniques of interior design. It really just depends on what the niche is. For doctors, if it was doctors, you could inform them on, let's say a dentist in particular. You could inform them or educate them on why it's necessary to brush your teeth 20 times a day, whatever. Obviously that's too much, but you guys get what I'm saying. Educational, informational, that is the end goal. You're trying to teach them something specific. I'm planning on joining, just saving up some coins, but I've watched one of your YouTube videos about 2 months ago, and I've been stalking you ever since your goals. Well, I'm glad that you're getting value out of the content that I provide. Again, biggest thing is just taking action. Once you get those coins saved up, get it in. And again, I say this all the time, even if it's not my course, that's okay. Just get in a course. You have to start learning to get the results you want. I'm from India. You are doing good. Keep it up. Thanks, Gautam. I'm sorry, I just probably messed up your name. Your last name's Singh. I got that. That one's easy. But thank you, I appreciate it. All right, let's keep going. So informational, educational, that's the first one. The second one is going to be build a community. That could be a goal, right? So build a community. All right, so what's the goal in building a community? Obviously, it is to basically give people a voice. If you're building a community, it's not a community if one person's doing all the talking, right? If the business is the only one doing any talking or conversing, then where's the community in that, right? So a community, the end goal, in my opinion, this is just kind of my thought behind it, is letting them be heard, letting the people be heard who are part of your community or part of your brand, right? That's the important thing. So in this instance, you want to make sure that you're always asking some kind of question, or you're asking for feedback or a response from your audience. That's kind of what you want your messaging to be focused around when you're doing it. All right, so with my brand, we started our Serial Entrepreneur SMMA help group on Facebook. You guys might have seen it. If you haven't joined that group, trust me, you're going to want to join it. We're about to hit 1,000 members. There's seriously posts going every single day of people asking questions about digital marketing, questions about their agency, and I'm telling you, it's the most engaging group on Facebook. You won't find a better one. But that's what we did. We what I want to say is, we have 3 parts like I'm going through right now, but good marketers take advantage of all 3. Obviously, you want to start off with one, so I guess that's a key point. You want to start off with one and make that your primary focus, and then move into the other 2 areas later. But good marketers take advantage of all 3 of these. They are informational, educational, they build a community, and then the third part, which we'll get into a second. So again, in this instance, you want to get feedback. Things like polls or questionnaires, free trainings, that kind of stuff brings instant brand loyalty and makes people love you because of the fact that you're willing to work with them and you're willing to ask their opinion. People like their opinions to be heard, right? So a good way to look at it, again, is you want to be a place where your fans make new friends due to their strong affinity to your products or services. So they are so into your products or services that they've made new friends just by coming in contact with your brand. I can tell you right now, I know there are people on this channel, for example, if Terrell, if you're still watching, he posted a video yesterday. He tagged me and he tagged Derek in it. Derek is another person in my course who wouldn't have known Terrell unless he was involved as much as he is. So the fact that they are so involved and so engaged in this industry with digital marketing and trying to learn how to start that business, that's what allowed them to make that friendship. Now they know each other and they communicate. So, again, that's what a community is all about. You're building that place for them to engage and to become friends with each other. That's really the end goal. So again, last thing, most important for building a community, conversation is key. You want people talking, you want them engaging with other people, because that's what makes a good community environment. Third part is going to be creating engagement. All right. And creating engagement, it's pretty straightforward. The goal is to get viewers to share things, tag friends, follow, like, whatever that may be, right? And to create engagement, the best thing you can do is remain topical, remain, talk about topics that are popular, that are happening right now, not something that happened like 3 years ago. That engagement is usually most effective when it is topics that are happening, right now, because nobody's talking about old news, right? So again, with engagement, you want to find, so if we relate this back to the real estate industry, you could look at maybe housing districts that have changed over the year. Maybe somebody wants to know about that. I mean, that might not be the best example, but you guys get what I'm saying. I need to do some consulting. Jaquez, just let me know when you want to set up a call. If you're in the course, I believe you're in the course. I can't remember. I know I've seen your name before. You've been on our YouTube lives. But if you need a consultation, if you're in the course, you get a discount. If not, you have to unfortunately pay full price. But then again, that's the reason why it's a benefit to be a student. So let me see. So just message me on Facebook or Snapchat if you want to set up that consultation, and we'll get you going. Where was I at? Remain topical. Okay, and then content should have a focus, again, on current trends in the industry and should strive to be a leader in new trends. So not only are you looking to talk about new trends, but you're trying to be the one who's starting new trends. People who can build new trends, who can start new trends for their industry are the ones who are the thought leaders, right? So other people follow their lead. That's what makes you bigger in your industry, is by being a thought leader. So creating content up front that people are going to engage with, but not only that, share with and get other people involved with, is what that specific goal is about. So that's step one, talking about the goals. After you understand the goals for your content marketing strategy, all you're going to do from there, well, there's 6 more steps you're going to do from there, but the other ones are pretty much, they're a lot easier. The goal setting is where you should spend most of your time there, and the planning, that's really where the most benefit comes from planning the content strategy. I mean, that's kind of why it's in the title of this video. But again, just make sure you're paying attention to all 7 of these. They're not difficult. You just need to make sure that you do them in this order, so that way you don't get ahead of yourself. If you start creating the content before you've actually planned it or done the research on the market, you're not really going to have the best content. All right, so to perform a content audit, that is step number 2. Perform a content audit. All right, so what is a content audit? If you guys are familiar with the digital marketing audit, think about it like that. What is a digital marketing audit? We look at their digital marketing and we say, this is where you're doing good, this is where you're doing bad, right? So a content marketing audit is the same thing. We look at their blog articles, we look at their posts, we look at their email content, we say, what's good, what's bad? All right, and then from there, after you know what they currently have in place, you look at what was effective, did it resonate, was it not effective? Then your next thought should be, what are some content pieces that you think they might have missing before you even do the research? What is something that you think might be missing ahead of time? And then how can you repurpose or reuse the current content that they have and mix it in with the ad strategy that you're planning for their business? So content audit, it's not, like I said, this step is very simple. You just need to look at the content they have, make a judgment call on it, and then next step, number 3, is perform or conduct. That's probably what I should have put. Perform audience research. All right. And all that is if you guys, I actually have a video just on this 3rd step where it's about creating a customer profile. If you guys go over to my YouTube channel, you can watch that full video on creating a customer profile. That's really what this whole step is. We're looking at who the audience is, we're figuring out what their likes are, what their dislikes are, what their hobbies are, demographic information, so how old they are, whether they're male or female, just so much information there, whether where they're from geographically, if they're in the US or if they're outside of the US, or if they're in a specific city or state locally. All of that stuff is important, and you have to have an understanding of that to understand how your customers are going to react with content. Why is this important? So using wording and phrasing that easily relates to your audience goes a long way when trying to build a following. So if my following, like for example me, most of my viewers around 18 to 44. That's like the big group, big bulk of my audience. The biggest bulk out of that range is roughly like 25 to 35 year olds. Those are the ones they watch the most of my content. So when I talk, I try to say words, like specific words, like dude, for example, let's just use that one. Dude is a word that was kind of my generation, even a little bit older. Obviously, older people used it, but not as much. My generation kind of took that word and made it what it is. Excuse me. So using words like that in your content is part of the difference between writing to someone or writing to a broad audience and writing to a specific audience. When you're able to narrow down who your specific audience is, you're able to talk more directly to them. All right, so the content resonates with them even better. All right, so after you conduct the content research, again, that's pretty easy. You're just going to look at likes, dislikes, everything that builds that typical customer. And then from then, we're going to move into step 4. Content schedule. So step 4 is just the content schedule, all right? So some platforms to consider for content. Your blog, your vlog, your social media channels like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, your YouTube channel. Email content, you need to figure out when that needs to go out. Website landing pages, if you do updates on a website, like maybe, product descriptions, or if you do flash sales maybe once a week and you have to change out some ad copy for the website, all of that is stuff you have to plan and put in your content calendar, your content schedule, right? That's the whole point in building this, is so you know where things are about to start being posted and you have an idea of what the month or the next couple of weeks at least looks like. So platforms to consider, again, are right there. Or we just talked about them. Biggest thing you want to do, again, what I like to do is I break down each one. So if we have blog content, we're going to look at blogs. If there's 30 days in a week and we have it budgeted to do 2 blogs for them, I'm probably going to set it up every 2 weeks. So that way we have it more spread out, right? Same thing with vlog content. Then you're going to go through social. You're going to say, okay, Facebook, what do we want to how do we want to build these posts? Do we want to take some blog articles? Do we want to take some videos and cut those up into smaller videos? Do we want to create organic content that doesn't come from blog articles? Do we want fun or engaging type posts? And then you say, okay, we got 7 days in the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so what's going to go on Monday? Or that would be Sunday, wouldn't it? Yep. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You just say, okay, what goes in each one of these days? I want to post here. I want to post on Tuesday. And you don't just say, okay, well, I'm just going to start throwing posts on there. You do some research and figure out what is the best time frames to post, what is the best times of the week that resonates with that audience, right? So the whole point in doing step 3 is so that you understand, okay, my audience doesn't engage on Monday and Tuesdays because this is more of for example, a bar. If a bar is running ads on Monday and Tuesday, they're probably not going to get the most traction, right? But if they're running a super big special on Friday and Saturday, and they do post on Facebook about that, and then run some ads behind it, they're going to have a better result, right? So you have to understand when to post, and that's why all of the planning is important, and all of the research ahead of time is important, because if you don't know what days are the most effective, you're really just running circles around yourself. Second part of the content schedule is just picking a content management system, a CMS. So that's something like Hootsuite or like Buffer. When you get when you're able to afford actually a lot more, because I believe it's like $2,400 a month, you can get something like HubSpot or Zoho, and that's where you can hook up all of your email marketing. You can do your social posting. You can do blog content scheduling, all of that in one place. But again, those are much more expensive when you start to get your agency up to like $20,000 a month plus. You can start to look into some kind of system like that. Trust me, you're going to want to. When you have 20 clients, you have to have a system like that in place. The other way that you can post content is on a native platform. So a native platform is just the platform itself. So if you need to do Facebook posts, you can schedule them on Facebook. Same with Instagram and Twitter and everything else. Number 5, and this is outside of doing the planning and the research, definitely one of the most important parts of this whole thing. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So number 5 is going to be the brainstorming session. Ooh, wow. Okay. All right. And it's pretty straightforward what a brainstorming session is, right? But let me give you some things that you want to keep in mind. Plus, In the description, I put a really cool tool down there called, it's the HubSpot Topic Generator. All right, so you can actually type in keywords for this HubSpot topic generator, and it'll put out a bunch of cool blog article topics or ideas or titles for you. So again, if you want access to that tool, it's just in the video description below. But let's go through these topics that you want to cover. So to determine what topics to cover, I usually start by making a list of the biggest issues that people have in an industry. So this part is easy. Basically, what I do is I go to a website that does reviews, like Yelp or like Google, and I'll find some competitors in that industry and find all of the negative reviews I can, all of the positive reviews I can, and then I look at what are people saying in the negative reviews. Was it the product itself? Was it quality? Was it the customer service? What was it that they didn't like about that experience? Then I do the same thing with the good stuff. What was it that they did like? The other thing you can do is find news articles that are current or related to your industry. That's going to tell you topics that matter. And then from there, you just look at all of that and say, what stands out to you? And then if you did your job in the research phase, then you should have an idea of what content has worked and what hasn't, right? So HubSpot, again, has that pretty cool tool. I recommend using that to come up with titles. You also want to look at tools like BuzzSumo. That's a really cool tool to look at what topics are trending right now, which ones are getting likes, which ones are getting shares, and it lets you know what you need to work on to build good content for any client. Again, a big thing is knowing what they currently have and what they don't have. What are they missing that's going to create more engagement for their brand? Last little part of this for the brainstorming session is you want to formulate your headlines and titles. So these are going to be the actual topics, because here's the thing, and I say this to Ted all the time because I'm still kind of doing some training with him, but he's getting much better. You guys should have seen the email article he wrote today. It was really good. But the title itself is similar to an email subject line. And what do I mean by that? An email subject line is pretty much everything about an email, right? Because if you write a bad subject line and they don't open that email, then all of the content inside that email is useless, right? If they didn't see it, there's no point in you even sending that email. So the subject line is what gets them to open it. That's what gets them to engage with it and go in and say, okay, what's this email about? So if you don't get the subject line right, or if you don't get the title right for a blog article, they're never going to open that blog article and go see what it's about. So that's why you should spend a lot of your time coming up with really cool titles and headlines, because that's what's going to make people open that article. Jose says, when are you going to post the content in Facebook? When you post content in Facebook, do you boost it in the back end of Facebook every time? Yep, I pretty much do it on the back end every time. I've seen some of the big people, like, for example, Curator, if you've ever seen them. They do some of their stuff via Boost Post, and they even recommend it. I don't know why they recommend it. I personally don't. There might be an instance maybe to get more page likes or something like that. That might be a decent option. Their Boost Post option has actually gotten a lot better because you can do actual targeting now. They didn't allow you to used to be able to do targeting, so it was kind of useless. Now you actually have the ability to do some targeting from the front end. But Jose, still, I recommend using the back-end manager. It's much easier. You can see much more audience targeting options. So again, it just makes for a better result. Step number 6, so that's brainstorming session. Where's my, yeah, that's right. Once it's time to, oh, yeah. All right, so now that you've done your brainstorming session, you've done all the other steps, now it's just time to choose what type of content you want to promote, all right? So what type of content to build. And I bet you guys will know a lot of these examples, but I'm going to say them anyways. Obviously, a video such as this is content. What I'm doing right now is content, all right? That's what we're creating. Video, all right? Blog posts, ebooks. That's a great way to, an ebook is really, you can take blog posts for the past, however long you've been doing them and make a condensed guide for that series of blog posts. You can do templates, you can do infographics. I'm sure you guys have seen infographics. Everybody loves an infographic because it's easy to follow. It gives you something that's a little more engaging than just reading through a paragraph or a blog article. We went through videos, podcasts. That's a great way to get audio out there about yourself. A cool way to do it is to shoot video like we're doing right here, and then you just take the audio off and then post it to a podcast. Again, that's just repurposing content, which if you want more info on repurposing content, we just did a video, I believe, last week or the week before that goes into all that. So check YouTube for sure. I'm realizing now how much content we really have done because there's always an example I can revert back to on my channel. When we first started, it didn't used to be like that. But now that I have 130 videos, it's a little different. And then the last one is going to be external content. So once you get all of the main platforms or the main types of content done, right? You're doing video, you're doing podcasts, infographics, blog articles, whatever, right? The final thing that you kind of want to start to do is go out and find some partners. Basically, people that you can post your content to their site. They're okay with guest posting. That's what it's called, guest posting, which is really irritating the shit out of me right now because I get like 20 emails a day from people wanting to do blog posts on my site, and I'm like, dude, you're not posting your app on my site. I don't care about your app. It's really annoying, but it is a good way to make some money if that's the type of site that you're trying to run. That's not the type of site I want. I don't want people on there promoting their products. But eventually you will want to take your products or your services or the blog content, articles you're creating, and put them on someone else's site. I just remembered I didn't change that. On someone else's site. Because, again, this is going to build SEO and it's going to bring in new traffic from a site that you've never gained traffic from before, right? So, potentially new business. All right, last step, and then we're going to wrap it up. Step number 7 is publish and manage content. Okay, publish and manage content, pretty straightforward. We're going to get it published. What is the management side of it? Because really that's the important part, right? How do you look at content and know whether it was effective and whether you should make more content like it, right? So after you publish it, you're just going to use your CMS, whether that's Hootsuite or Buffer, whatever. We discussed those earlier. After you do that, you're going to schedule it on there, and then you want to review the analytics. So after it's been out for, 15 days, 30 days, 2 months, 6 months, you want to look at the content and say, okay, which topics, which articles did the best for us? Which ones got the most views? Which ones had the most impressions? Which one had the most on-page clicks? So like link clicks on the blog article itself, if there was a blog. If possible, look at a heat map. Some people have heat maps installed into their website so they can tell where people are viewing content at, right? Where they're spending the most time. That's a great way to tell what sections of content we're doing really well. Average time spent on a page is a huge indicator. If they're staying there for 10 seconds, that article didn't resonate with them. But if they're there for 10 minutes, that was a really, really good article. So that's why our YouTube channel does so well, is because our average watch time, I think the last time I checked, was like 7 minutes average, which is really, really good. The average view time, I think, on YouTube in general is around 1 to 2 minutes. So to have 7 minutes, that's about 5 times the, 3.5 times the average YouTube channel. So super proud about that. But again, it comes down to creating content that people can engage with that's going to get you that higher view rate. And then another metric that you definitely want to check is something called bounce rate. What is bounce rate? Again, basically that is when someone comes to your site and then leaves really quickly. Or they come to a page and then they bounce from page to page to page to page and they don't actually look at anything. That's a bounce rate. And you don't want your bounce rate to be high. You want it to be lower, right? So that is creating content for any niche. It's not difficult, guys. Once you understand how to plan it, once you understand where to find, topics, where to look at research to, figure out what is actually going to resonate with an audience and cause engagement and cause people to get involved with that brand, it's pretty easy to understand what you need to do to get the content created, right? So, thank you guys for joining. We're going to go ahead and close this up. Again, if you want content like this is the stuff, except we go even further in depth when we do this on our marketing or on our mentorship program. So if you guys want more training that's even more in depth like this, and you want copies of those videos that you can save plus documents to follow along with, then again, you need to check out the mentorship program. If you're really serious about getting results for your marketing agency, this is what you have to do. I mean, I spent at this point, I personally have spent probably tens of thousands in total, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars just on training and education. So you guys have to understand, it's not something that you can just watch a bunch of free YouTube videos and get $10,000 a month. It doesn't work like that. And if you want a testimonial, reach out to people that you see in these videos like Derek, or in my Facebook group like Kayla, people like Jose. Jose's getting his agency going. I mean, he's already picking up customers and he's getting involved. He joined the marketing agency mentorship program as soon as he found out it was available. He had already been talking to me about setting up consultations and doing that once a month, but I was like, dude, you got to check this out because it's 4 videos, and as long as you're hopping on the live events, you get to engage with me and ask me questions. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. If you want that promo code, again, it's in the description below. That tool that I gave you for HubSpot, check that out. That's also in the description below. It's going to give you topics for blog articles. Really, really useful there. But outside of that, guys, I hope you guys have a great Thursday night and a great weekend. So until next time, guys, serial entrepreneur out. Later.